Tarkov is wiping soon, and there's quite a few problems with that. This used to be a time for the player base to get excited. Nowadays, I'm not really sure if anyone feels that way. You see, this game is absolutely plagued by bugs and issues that seem like they are never going to get fixed. So I thought I'd share with you 3 main issues with the game that will probably roll over into the upcoming wipe. The first thing I want to talk about is just quality of life issues, and what I mean by that are simple bugs that seem to keep coming around every time we get a wipe. The biggest example of this is something I'm sure you're all familiar with, and that's having to double or sometimes even triple drag items that stack like cash, GP coins, and ammo into containers. This is one of those bugs that's just annoying as fuck, and quite frankly, I don't understand how this issue has been in the game for over a year now. Stocking up on all types of ammo and having to spend the next 5 minutes simply dragging them into an ammo container is such a chore, and I'm just tired of it. The reason why this happens is because the items stack. Let's say you have a stack of 37 bullets in an ammo case. If you drag a full stack of 60 bullets into the case, instead of putting them all in there, it will fill up that stack of 37 to 60, and then you have to drag the remainder of that stack in. I think you guys can see how this gets annoying very quickly. The next quality of life issue I have is something that started happening this wipe, and that's the selling to traders bug. This bug is still pretty new, and I'm not 100% sure how it works still, but basically, let's say you want to sell a bunch of weapon parts to Mechanic. You open him up, start control clicking everything you want to sell, just to realize that you can't hit the spacebar or the deal button to sell everything to him. Instead, you now have to switch over to another trader and then back to Mechanic and control click everything you want to sell again before you can finally hit deal and sell it all. Again, this is another one of those bugs that's just annoying as fuck, and it makes it a real pain in the ass to sell things after a raid. An honorable mention before we move on is just how long it takes to open up the hideout sometimes. It's getting ridiculous. The next main problem I see going into the wipe are 3 systems that get talked about a lot: the armor system, hitboxes, and the ammo system. I know we're beating a dead horse here, but the armor system is just wild, and the reason for that, in my opinion, is simply because of the neck hitbox. While the neck hitbox is quite the equalizer for the lower geared player, it is the exact opposite for the meta geared player. The net hitbox at its core simply punishes you for bringing in higher tier gear. It doesn't matter what armor or helmet you bring in, you can be one-tapped in the neck by basically any bullet in the game. Oh, you just brought in the most meta kit you can possibly get in the game. Don't worry, little Timmy, who came in naked with a Keter, is about to ruin your whole fucking day by one-tapping you in the neck. But not before you put 5 rounds of M80 into him, just for it to do nothing because his arms were in front of his thorax. Which brings me to my next point, and that's the hitboxes. While the hitboxes have a lot of issues, the only thing I really have beef with is the arms hitboxes. For whatever reason, and I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there explaining this, the arms act as extra armor essentially. They absorb bullets as if they were another armor plate. And I'm sure you can see how this is a major issue because the arms cover a lot of the thorax. So not only do you have to get through someone's armor, you also have to get through their arms as well. Time and time again, I get some of the most insane hit counts with meta ammo that I've ever seen. Couple examples this wipe were a 16 hit count with M855A1, also a 21 hit count with 4.6 FMJ, and then a 19 hit count with SS190. In all of those scenarios, I shot at only one player that raid, and I died each time. I don't really understand how I shoot someone with that many bullets with ammo that is supposed to be good, and they somehow come out on top. Nowadays, getting into a fight with someone feels like just straight RNG. I'm constantly second guessing myself and never really fully confident in the gear or ammo that I brought in. And the times that I do get confident and say swing somebody, I end up with a crazy hit count and my body lifeless on the ground. And that brings us into ammo. I've basically covered everything that needs to be said about it, but I do want to mention a couple of things. First of which is that meta bullets just do not feel meta. Do you guys remember back in the day being able to search up what the best bullet was on an ammo chart, spending a ridiculous amount of rubles to get some of it, and then taking it into raid and absolutely dominating with it? That used to be the case with ammo in this game. It was very clear what bullets were good and what bullets were bad. And if you used a good bullet, you had a better chance of winning a fight. And if you brought in a bad bullet, you probably died a lot. My point is that ammo was relatively simple. The more money you spend, the better chance you have of killing someone. That's just how it was. Nowadays, I have no fucking clue what ammo is good anymore. Sometimes I go in a raid with M61 and shoot a guy 6 times in the chest before he dies. As somebody who's been playing this game for a long time, that just makes no sense to me. Ammo is in such a weird spot, and in my opinion, it is overly complicated. Pair that with the fact that reading the penetration and damage stats basically means nothing. Now, to be completely honest with you, I think the issues with ammo is really just a byproduct of the armor system. I do think having interchangeable plates is cool, but clearly it's not working very well. The last main problem I see with the upcoming wipe is likely the biggest problem of them all, and that's wipe progression. There are a lot of issues with wipe progression currently, and it simply comes down to the fact that progression is faster than it's ever been before. The first thing that makes progression very fast is rubles being easily obtainable. We all know that making money in this game is currently easier than it's ever been before, and I think the reason for that is because of BSG removing the non-found in raid fleet. Personally, I think the non-found in raid fleet is great for a few reasons. However, I think it does need a few changes and some balancing. The major issue with this is being able to flip items from the traders onto the flea market. As much as I love taking advantage of this, I think it should be removed. Just get rid of trader flipping, and I think wipe progression will definitely slow down just a bit. The next issue with progression is Arena. Arena is directly linked to the main game now, so any money or experience you earn in Arena can be directly transferred over. You get 3 quests a day and 1 weekly quest that give you a crazy amount of XP for early wipe. Each daily can be worth up to 15 to 20k XP, and weeklies around 30 to 40k XP. This is insane for early wipe, and a lot of players just spam Arena on wipe day and unlock the flea market within a few hours. Unlocking the flea before Arena came around used to be an absolute grind for the average player. Now you can have it on day 1 of wipe. With all that being said, I'm fairly certain Nikita has said somewhere that they will be balancing Arena and its effect on the main game. I really hope this is true because Arena is such a cheat code for wipe progression, and it's, in my opinion, the biggest reason why early wipe feels even shorter these days. As a byproduct of all of this, in-game gear comes very fast. People are able to abuse Arena to unlock the flea, grab some pretty solid gear, and head in to do their early tasks and progress at a crazy rate compared to most players. All this combined makes for a much more stale wipe as we leave the early wipe phase. This is one of the reasons why this current wipe feels so dead. People progress so fast that they don't have anything left to do. Most players hit max traders and stop playing the game until the next wipe. How do we fix that? How do we make it so most of the player base still has something to do after they've hit max traders? Why is it that max traders is the in-game goal for a lot of the player base? These are questions that I ask myself often, and to be honest, I don't really have a solution. So, those are my 3 main problems with the upcoming wipe: inconvenient quality of life bugs, the whole armor, hitbox, and ammo issues, and wipe progression. Some of these issues have been plaguing the game for a while now, and I'm starting to wonder if BSG even knows about them. If they don't, how do we tell them? And if we tell them, will they even care? I have no idea, but all we can do as a community is keep talking about things like this, and maybe one day a solution will come forward.